So I'm here at my car. This is a '95 Celica with 3S GTE, the 3S GTE out of the all-wheel drive Celicas. So today I'm installing my strut tower bar that I found. Now it's not a very rigid one. This one actually flexes a little bit. So I mean, typically what you would want is more of a rigid one, but this one actually is it is a 3-post. So normally, like if you can see my stock one that came with the car, it's 2-post, or it's 2-point. I mean, sorry, not 2-post. So it's a 2-point. So it goes from strut tower to the firewall, and from the firewall to the other strut tower. This one, it's the same thing, but you have this third point added, which goes across, which it adds rigidity to the frame. So it's a pretty easy, pretty straightforward install. I'm actually going to speed up the video a little bit later on while I'm doing the install process. But basically, it's just unbolting the old. Like on mine, it's simple because as you can see, my strut tower, it's pretty flat. It has a slight curve to it, so I don't think I'll have to drop the struts. I don't think I'll have to lower the struts. So I should be able just to unbolt the 3 bolts from the top of each strut tower and the 2 from the firewall, take the old one off, and then just put the new one on. It does make it a little bit easier that this one flexes, because I would be able to flex it a little bit in putting it on. But yeah, so the reason why you would put one of these on is you want to add rigidity to the frame, or to the chassis of the car. The chassis of the car is designed to flex from the manufacturer, and like as it gets older, that flexing kind of makes the car feel not as sturdy in the corners. You get more body roll, things like that. It'll feel like you have more body roll. So what I'm doing is I'm stiffening up my front end of my car, because as it gets old, as the car flexes, it actually ends up flexing more. It ends up getting more and more soft, I guess. The chassis isn't as rigid as it was from the factory. So what I'm doing, the tools that I have, these are all 14mm. So I have my little snap-on short socket, and then I have my breaker bar here just for cracking it loose. I looked at the torque specs. On these on the strut tower mount, and the only thing I couldn't find anything for the torque specs on where it bolts into the firewall. But I'll keep looking for that, and if I find it, I'll post it up in a comment. But you don't have to use a breaker bar. I'm just using a breaker bar because it's easier than just using my hands. So these are loose, and then it's just loosening up everything else. But this is one of the easiest installs that you could do, unless your strut towers are curved in. Like on some cars, the strut towers are angled in, and that would make it far more difficult. But anyway, I'm going to speed up the video and then finish putting this on. Okay, so now I'm just tightening I'm setting my torque wrench to 29 pounds. That's what my strut tower is supposed to be at. 4 pounds. Alright, so that's 29 pounds. I got it set on tighten, and I don't know if you could tell when I had the video sped up, but there's 2 issues that I came across. One is just a small one. My little ground wire that I have grounding the engine, and the click means that it's at that torque. So I'll go around this once. Click, 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 and then I'll go around it again, make sure. Good. So my my ground wire, actually, I had it connecting to the strut tower. It's a nice solid point, and because of this third bar going across, I mean, it would reach over here, but it's stretching all the way across my battery, and I don't want to loosen the ground every time I want to take the battery out or something. Just one more thing to take out that'd be in the way, unless I have a longer wire. The other thing is, these are the factory bolts, and I have a whole bucket of bolts upstairs. I'll have to go and grab some, but I'm going to put this down at 29 pounds also. But the factory bolts are a lot shorter because they're just designed to go through a flat bar into the firewall. And then that's it. So I'm going to torque down the other side, but I've torqued down this side, I'm going to torque down the other side. But basically, I guess a little warning about this. So if you install a 3-point strut bar, and let's say you just have the 1 point that goes across, with the 2 points that goes across, like from this strut tower to that strut tower, and then you install one that's a 3-point, and you've got to drill your own holes into the firewall or something like that. The problem with that is, if you get into a collision, the body of the car isn't going to be able to take the collision the way it was designed to. So it won't crumple the way that it's designed to, and it might actually end up could actually end up totaling your car, I guess, if it weren't going to total in that same collision, but with just a single strut tower mount. Just so it's something else to keep in mind. But I'm gonna go find some 14mm bolts with this thread. All right, I'm back. So I guess this is why it's handy that if you do a lot of engine swaps and things like that, or it's like swapping out engines that are blown, save all of the bolts that you can, put them in a bucket because they come in handy. These, I have no idea what they're from, but they're the exact size that I need. So this is the old bolt, and it's about maybe 7/8 of an inch long, and then this, the end of this bar that bolts into the frame is about 1 inch long, and this one is probably about 1 7/8 inches. So that's guessing, but it's 14mm head, the same size. It takes the same size thread. Pretty sure it's the same size thread. Yeah. This one just probably hasn't been threaded into anything in a while. It's not wanting to cooperate. Threads are just rusty. That's going in fine. This one is probably the same thing. I don't want to strip it out, so I'm being careful. And it doesn't feel like stripping. Oh, that's good. So, just going to tighten this down, and again, I'm going to torque these. I'm going to torque these to that recommended torque. Even though it's 29 pounds is the torque, but that's for the strut tower. I couldn't find the torque spec for the strut tower, or for the strut tower bar, where it connects to the firewall. There was about when I set this in place after I bolted the front two in, there was about about an 1/8 inch gap between the back side of this that bolts into the firewall. So all I'm doing is taking turns, tightening up one bolt and then tightening up the other. Where is my torque wrench? Yeah. So I'm gonna hit that 29 pounds again. There we go. That's one. That's two. Go back and check this one again. Yeah. Tighten a little bit more. So we're good. Now, I'm just going to go around this whole thing again, triple check these. And I'm not really checking to make sure I didn't overlook something. I'm more checking to make sure everything's setting right. And it's a good idea, since I don't know these torque specs, I'm actually going to, like after I drive it around for a week or so, I'm going to check these, the tightness of these bolts again, the nuts and then the bolts again, just to make sure nothing's coming loose, everything's like it's supposed to. It's a good habit to be in. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. It's an easy install. It really is. It's one of the easiest things to install. It's a little bit harder if you have if your strut towers are angled in. You know, like these are mostly flush, they're angled a little bit, but if the strut towers are angled in, like on some cars, you would actually have to loosen the strut tower bolts and then raise up the car so that the struts drop a little bit, just enough to where you can set down the strut tower bar, and then you would raise up the car, or sorry, then you would lower the car so that the strut studs raise up, and then you would cinch them down, tighten them down, and then go through the same little torque process that I did. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, ask questions. I should hopefully be able to answer it, but anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. God bless.